The year 2004 was the founding of Facebook, the birth of the term life hacked, and lots of bombings. Tons and tons of bombings. Look at Wikipedia, look at like the things that happened during that year, and like half the events are just acts of terrorism. But in the world of video games, we got some great games. I got 3 of them right here. I got Monster Hunter, I got Ninja Gaiden, I got Pikmin 2. We got lots of great games that won Game of the Year awards. But these games didn't win the most Game of the Year's awards. Those games were actually Halo 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, maybe the one that takes place in the 80s, and then Metroid Prime 2. But all of those are sequels that have actually been on Game Reign before, and Halo 2 would win. I'm just gonna make that random guess right now. So I chose the runners-up, so it could actually be a fair fight. I got all these games on this show. I call it Game Reign. I make them fight to have one game that will reign. These are the games of 2004. That's the theme for this particular episode. So let's just do that. Let's go in. Let's have fun. Alright, we've got games for the Sony PlayStation 2, the Microsoft Xbox, and the Nintendo GameCube. And Sony is bringing Monster Hunter, a Capcom game. Pretty simple concept. You hunt monsters. What else do I need to say? And the game that Microsoft has to represent them is Ninja Gaiden, Tecmo's reboot of the 1988 series, the extremely difficult but rewarding third-person hack-and-slash that lets you release your inner ninja. And what do you know, Nintendo's game was developed in-house. That's a huge surprise. Well, their game that they're putting forth is going to be Pikmin 2, sequel of the critically acclaimed Pikmin. This time you have more commanders, more Pikmin types, but that core gameplay is pretty much unchanged. Exactly what a sequel should be. And that commercial is terrifying. Alright, this is the 4th episode of Game Reign, so I'm just gonna give the rundown and I'm gonna make it quick. I have chosen 5 categories for all of these games to compete in: atmosphere, controls, difficulty, fun, and longevity. I'll talk about how each of these games compare in each of those categories, and then I'm gonna give points based on how they did. Whoever did best the category is gonna be getting this nice crown worth 2 points. The runner-up is also getting a crown, silver, and 1 point. But whoever did the worst among the 3 games, they don't get a crown, they don't get points, they don't get nothing. But with that said, let's start tackling those categories. A combination of graphics and sounds that transport you to the old world, Japan, or Earth, I guess. Atmosphere is a vital part of any game. Let's see how these games handled it. Monster Hunter probably shows its age the most on the character models. Whether you're playing as a lady or a dude, you look like a PS2 era polygonal mess. But that's probably because they had to do art sets for every individual set of armor. But the monsters and the environments, on the other hand, beautiful. Honestly, there were a few moments where I just sat around and looked at the backgrounds because it was all so breathtaking. The music was also very fitting, being very mellow and ambient when you're walking around the world, but changing to ferocious and powerful as the creatures you square off against. The game does a fine job at creating an engaging atmosphere. 2004? Really? Xbox hardware. Really? Look, as I was playing this game, there were multiple times where I forgot that I was on an original Xbox. This game is so smooth that I thought I was playing an Xbox 360 game. Honestly, this is one of the prettiest games I have ever seen, especially on an original Xbox. Look at the Japanese architecture! Look at the main character!
Look at that disgusting display. Yes, sir.
The music never really stood out to me, but on the games that I've covered on Game Reign so far, this one is by far the most pretty. Now, while not the drop-dead gorgeous prom queen that Ninja Gaiden is, Pikmin 2 is still quite the looker, but it does a pretty good job at establishing its environment with its visuals. But that sound design, ooh, it is something else! Man, the music in Pikmin 2 is so good! There's no tunes that you can really hum along with, except maybe that, the end of the day song. But hey, if the gameplay doesn't suck you into this game, those background tracks can certainly give you that extra push. So much much like the last episode, the atmosphere category is fiercely contested. Giving any of these games the short stick feels wrong, but it must be done. So Pikmin, I'm sorry. Your soundtrack may be extremely engrossing, but your graphics and a few other things are just holding you a bit short. But Ninja Gaiden, on the other hand, it gets a point. Not the King's Crown, but the visuals in this game far exceed the other two. But visuals alone does not an atmosphere create. It's the combination of beautiful backgrounds and stunning sounds that carry Monster Hunter to the top. You know what a video game is, right? Well, you see, there's this guy inside of a box, and you need this guy to kill stuff or make stuff. Well, tell me, how are you gonna do that? Well, with one of these newfangled contraptions. You see, hitting the buttons on this makes him run, jump, and punch his way to his goals. Well, the next few points are for how easy it is to make one of these things make him do all of his actions. Now, there are a lot of actions that you have to take so that you can, hunt a monster. But this game does not have the ability to pause. So sometimes I needed to navigate menus while also navigating the inside of a lost prey's mouth. But that's not the only problem. There's so many problems I had with this game. Number 1, rolling. You use the circle to roll and the square to use items. There were many times when a rhino charged me and I got to eat meat as I flew backwards in pain. I would often find myself making actions I didn't want to take, like eating food when my stamina was full. And there were many other mistakes, worst of all being the combat. In Monster Hunter, you have 3 attacks, with the sword at least. You got a side slash, a jump attack, and an overhead swing that can be strung together. Do you want to know how these attacks are executed? By pressing up, down, or side on the thumbstick. This is probably one of my least favorite control schemes of all time. It's not even too bad once you get used to it, but the thing is, you have to get used to it. The other games I slipped on like a glove and had a great time. Ninja Gaiden is a hard game. You are constantly under attack from multiple threats, and to avoid getting needlessly murdered, you need to be able to easily attack, defend, and roll at a moment's notice. Your movement is going to need to be seamless. Do you know why this game is so hard? Because the game is very well designed around your own limitations. I mean, the controls are so silky smooth. It's so tight. I mean, swinging your sword just feels right, and when you get gutted, you know you have no one to blame but your own dang self. Also, you have wall running. That's awesome. Now, Pikmin 2 is at a huge disadvantage when compared to the other two, at least in the control department, because I have spent countless hours getting all the platinum medals on the treasure hunts in Pikmin 3, and I am keenly aware of all the differences between 2 and 3. And trust me, every quality of life improvement that is missing from this game is absolutely jarring to me. But that said, the controls are still super good, and this game lets your character fight. You can go in there and help your Pikmin from getting chewed on. And the squad control with the C-stick is so much better than it is in the sequel. But honestly, all you need to do in this game is take your Pikmin, split them into groups, have them carry stuff back, and the controls are perfectly suited for controlling 100 little carrot guys, deciding what type to throw where, and even controlling 2 commanders works pretty well with the GameCube controller. So, with me being poor, being able to conceal my biases, the distribution for the points should be fairly clear. I am putting 0 points on Monster Hunter's weird thumbstick slashing, and 1 point on Pikmin 2's good but slightly dated controls. And Ninja Gaiden is getting all those points because its controls are smoother than my stress rock. Man, even if the combat sucked, it probably would have gotten the win because of that wall run. I love sprinting on the wall sides. Oh, this Indiana Jones part was pretty great. Such an important but difficult to master subject for a game. You need to keep me engaged, but you can't beat me down too hard, and you also need to try and accommodate players who are better and worse at video games than me. And to pull this off, you should have a curve like this. But none of these games manage that curve. Man, Man, this game is a mixed bag of difficulty. It was simultaneously the easiest and hardest game on this list. The first hour and a half is a tutorial, but by hour 5, there is a nearly unbeatable foe. Like, the tutorials are good, they teach you useful field skills by having you perform them, but sometimes it gets ridiculous. Make 5 potions by combining herbs and blue mushrooms, but I had no clue where to find the mushrooms. I searched everywhere and I almost failed, until I looked up a tutorial to see where mushrooms actually spawned. Later in the game, I had to find 10 special mushrooms and bring them back, but the spawn was so inconsistent that even after hitting every single spawn point on the entire map, which, by the way, there were no enemies, I just had to look around this map for 40 minutes. Only 8 mushrooms spawned. I lost because the game just wouldn't give me the items to give back to it. Oh my goodness. I threw this game into my PlayStation 2 to hunt monsters, not mushrooms. And the mission after that, they threw a wyvern in my face, and this was so stupid. It attacks unrelentingly. The window to land a hit is so small, and everything besides my jump slash bounced off. And it wasn't because my blade wasn't sharpened. Not that I could sharpen it anyway, because as I mentioned, the beast was unrelenting. Oh, and he would only fight in areas with 5 freaking velociraptors, or these stupid cats that steal your items and they can't even be killed. Not to mention, on my 3rd attempt that I tried this freaking fight, I searched and I searched for like 20 minutes. And while I was trying to climb up this wall, I kept getting torn off by the freaking dinosaurs. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall, and then I started. Yeah, needless to say, there were only about 20 minutes where the difficulty was tempered perfectly. There was this one hunt against the Bulorb King, and that was a pretty good one. And while it was a tad tedious, I really enjoyed running around with this wyvern egg while avoiding all these guys leaping at me. It was good fun too. Gaiden was very close to the line that I threw up on screen, but as you can clearly see from this one, it starts out much higher than I'd like, but a consistent challenge is appreciated. I never zoned out while I was playing this game. I had to pay very close attention, but these 2 jets right here, they really got me. I mean, after the very brutal tutorial, the first boss lets you know that you are in our Ninja Gaiden world. You cannot relax. And he beat me absolutely senseless. Eventually I learned that I can only, like, counterattack him, but the game only gets harder from this point. I remember I saved at this one statue after killing some ridiculously hard ninja dudes. And here's the thing, if you need to reload from here, the ninjas will spawn as well. So as soon as I was spawned, I was getting freaking murdered. Yeah, all the enemies in this game are beatable, but they have quirks that you need to identify and adapt to. But outsmarting such difficult foes is rewarding when you overcome it. And then there's the freaking horse boss! I think anyone who's played this game knows about the horse boss. In fact, it is very possible that there are people listening to this who have played this game that have a save file right outside the horse boss, because this guy is solid, firm, and resistant to pressure. It is not easily broken, bent, or even pierced. It's hard. Out of the 7 hours I spent on this game, nothing came close to the horse boss. He might be a fun, challenging fight on his own, but there are 3 infinitely spawning projectile dudes during the fight. The fight is incredibly difficult and requires a little bit of cheese to finally beat. But, unlike the wyvern, at least it was freaking possible. Much like Ninja Gaiden, this is sort of what the line is supposed to look like, but it lingers in that realm of too easy. But hey, it's got the Nintendo seal of quality. They don't want their target demo of everyone to be left out. But that's actually one of the great things about Nintendo games. Sure, kids are going to be able to beat them, but players with higher skill levels are going to be able to destroy them. In this game, you are tasked with paying back a debt that Almar's company accumulated while he was gone by collecting treasure. And I was paying back the debt by 10, 15, and even 20% per day, making sure all of my Pikmin had flower top heads and having the number of Pikmin consistently rising. Sure, it's easy, but it maintains engagement. So the points, once again, are staying away from Monster Hunter. Stupidly easy quests 1 minute, and annoyingly cheap bosses the next. Ugh, get out of here. But do we give the 2 points the tough but rewarding, or the simple but stress-free? I'm gonna go with Pikmin on this one. It is easy, but it never made me feel like I was wasting my time. By paying full attention to the screen, I was decimating the company's debt. It had a difficulty curve with the dungeons containing deadlier and deadlier monsters, but I had a blast. I mean, Ninja Gaiden was good too, but in Pikmin, I didn't get stabbed through with a naginata and then drug on the floor until I freaking died. Why do we play games? Is it to enjoy the artistic medium? To have the vicarious thrill? Or to feel the surge of victory? It's all of these, and they all culminate in fun. What a game's #1 goal should be. So, how did these games do at tackling this? Terribly! This game tackles it very, very poorly. Look, the stupid bosses are one thing, but I never got to fight him mano a mano. I always had to fight with stupid buddies running around, and the few times where I was actually getting the hang of the fight, it would run away. I do not think there is anything less fun than walking around a map looking for fun. I cannot wrap my mind around the thought process of making somebody look for fun. And once they start having that fun, having the fun literally run away. And look, cowardly, nigh unbeatable bosses is one thing, but wandering an area, avoiding monsters, and hunting mushrooms is too stupid. I'm not saying the game is devoid of fun, but I will say it is not worth the effort expended.
You know what else isn't fun? Dying all the time!
And you will die a lot in Ninja Gaiden. If you do not show an enemy the proper respect, it will not hesitate to flay your skin from your bone. If you allow an enemy to get behind you, it will remove your spine. And if you don't deal with the wizards, they will throw off your groove. And ain't no one wants their groove thrown off.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
That said, the smooth gameplay and high challenge offer an amazing feeling when you overcome it. I get this is a pretty short explanation, but hey, every time I beat a level, I had an awesome feeling in my stomach that just let me know, yeah, I had fun. Now, while the other games are kind of designed around gameplay and then maybe some fun will spring out of it, I think that Pikmin is designed around fun and then has gameplay derived around it. Allow me to explain. There is a way to make a player feel good. You give them stuff. Usually you make them earn it, like in Ninja Gaiden. You kill guys and then they'll drop health or money. Monster Hunter, you'll need to find a patch of mushrooms to pick them, or to get a big reward you'll need to kill a big horse. And then at the end you get to grab stuff out of the reward chest. Oh, that's a good feeling! Pikmin has small, medium, and big rewards just scattered non-stop throughout the gameplay. You're always getting stuff and feeling rewarded, and it's great. Like for example, you land in the morning and you collect the small pellets and find eggs to get sap. Small rewards. Kill a big dude and he'll drop a big pellet. That pellet and the body itself are medium rewards, and when you search around, you'll find some treasures. Big rewards. That is the entire gameplay loop, and it keeps the player feeling good and having fun. Let's take a dive in aquatic mind. Alright, so what do we do with these points? It's a tough match. Hard-earned fun or non-stop fun? I mean, beating even the smallest foe in Ninja Gaiden feels great, but the good feelings never stop in Pikmin, so I think I'm going to give the silver crown to Ninja Gaiden. I mean, the biggest reason I'm gonna give the points to Pikmin is because while I was describing the fun of Pikmin, I actually made Monster Hunter sound fun. Now, the biggest thing with Game Reign isn't to compare the games of 2004 to see who was the best game of 2004. It's to see who's the best of today. After time fades these games, see if they have any glimmer left. Are they worth playing in the modern era? Monster Hunter 2004, under no circumstances should be played today. I'm sad that I had such a rough go at this game. I mean, check this out. These 3 YouTubers, I have a massive respect for all three of them, and I find that my tastes in gaming match up with theirs very closely, and they all love Monster Hunter! Honestly, I do need to boot up one of the more modern iterations, but this game, it needs to be exercised. Now, as I hope that I've made clear throughout this whole video, is that this video game is very well made. It's the only game to score a crown in every category. The graphics are still very pretty, and the movement is very solid. If you're up for a good game that costs next to nothing, Ninja Gaiden is not a bad choice in the least. I mean, it'll kick your teeth in, and then it'll kick your teeth out, but that makes the victory just that much more sweet. I mean, I'll say this, it's better than the Ninja Gaiden game that Nintendo tried to drag into 2016. Oh, gosh. Speaking of Nintendo, Pikmin 2 is a game that has aged gracefully. But it has aged. It's not the prettiest chicken in the hen house, but man, its gameplay is spotless. There's a reason that John Tron mentioned it in his deleted top 10 necessary sequels video. It is superb! It doesn't have the Wii U gamepad capabilities, but it really doesn't need it. It was made for the GameCube in 2004, and what a game for the GameCube in 2004 it was! And so with much deliberation, I feel that the crowns should be handed out as such. Obviously, Monster Hunter should just depart from this life. But the other two games that are tied, they both want points. I can tell. But the winner, in my humble and probably wrong opinion, is Ninja Gaiden. And I'm not even happy about this. So here's the thing. On the one hand, I said that Pikmin 2 was more fun, and I stand by that. But on the other hand, I tried so many different categories to try and help Pikmin win this, but I realized I couldn't be honest with myself and get Pikmin the W. Ninja Gaiden did better than Pikmin in most of the categories, and since I couldn't convince myself that Pikmin 2 could outdo Ninja Gaiden in any category, I had to come to the conclusion that, yeah, Ninja Gaiden is the better game. So, that was Game Reign, and I can confidently say that the better game, rather than my favorite, actually won this one. That's pretty awesome. But I can't be too mad at Ninja Gaiden. I mean, it had Anne in it, and she was one of my very first video game crushes, so that's awesome. It also had a character that was voiced by Tara Strong. So, yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. I can put it up next to these other legends and feel fairly confident in placing it right up there. But let's talk about the next episode of Game Reign. It's gonna be games from 2005. For the PlayStation 2, we will have Shadow of the Colossus. For the Xbox, we are going to have Psychonauts. And Nintendo is bringing us Resident Evil 4. Subscribe if you want to see that. Dislike this video if you didn't like it. And see you later!